Do you plan on getting married and having kids? Do I take the contraceptive pill? The story behind your career.
Good morning everybody and welcome back to the vlog. I hope you are doing well, I hope you are keeping well and I hope you're ready for today's video. As you can see, I am just in my beautiful car. Unfortunately it's still injured, it still has smashed up wing mirror. I really do actually need to get that fixed. I am currently just on the way to therapy. I think I've actually spoken to you guys about the fact that I started therapy. I think I've done it like on and off over the years, but I found a therapist in London about, I want to say I started back in about November, maybe October. You're probably wondering, why am I going to therapy? And truth is, I don't even really know myself. I feel kind of like all adults, to a certain extent, should just go to therapy, even if you feel like you don't need it. It just kind of helps somehow. I don't really know how, but talking, it just helps. And I am someone that's a very anxious person. I've spoken about this a number of times before. I'm an anxious person, I'm an overthinker, I get very stressed very easily. And I just feel like speaking to someone and putting my thoughts out there, it just kind of weirdly helps. So anyway, that's where I'm off to this morning. But I thought I'd just start the vlog here because I always love a little car chat with you all. Anyway, what are we doing today? So obviously I'm off to my appointment right now. I'm not obviously going to vlog in there. I feel like I'd be over divulging too much about my life. It wouldn't be really that interesting either. But then after that, we're going to go to ZARA, because last night I was on the ZARA website and it was the first time I've really shopped on there since last year, because I hate the ZARA sales. It's just not for me. I never find anything I like, and it kind of annoys me because I'm someone that shops at ZARA a lot. I just see all of the stuff I paid full price for like a fraction of the price, and it just kind of annoys me, so I just stay away from it. But all the new in season stuff is creeping in, and I saw this bomber jacket on there. Oh, you're not crossing? But it was out of stock, but I checked and it's in stock on the King's Road ZARA. So after I've been to therapy, we go into the ZARA of all ZARAs. The one on Duke York Square is still my favourite ZARA. I still even think it's better than the one at Battersea Power Station. I'm trying to find a parking space, and let me tell you, trying to park this bus somewhere is not the easiest thing in the world. This car is not for city living. I've learned that the hard way, not that I ever thought it was, I mean seriously, but no, it's not for living in central London, let me tell you. But it is nice to drive, and obviously I was intending to have moved by now, but some things in life just don't go to plan. I've actually had to just extend my lease on my apartment for another 6 months because, well, I can't find a house. Well, finding that parking was blooming hard work. I just need to quickly pay for the space. Would you all like to see how terrible my footwear is today? Well, it's actually not terrible, but the you're not gonna be able to see it that way. Let me do it this way. The socks kind of look like leg warmers. They're taking me back to my dance days. And I have on my Uggs, but it was just too cold, even though it's actually 12 degrees. It's not actually that cold today, but I just felt too cold to not be dressed in a big puffer coat and leg warmers. The leg warmers just aren't a vibe. Anyway, I shall see you when I'm out of my appointment. Well, that was very nice. Well, can you call therapy nice? It was very, I always just come out feeling a lot lighter than when I go into those places. Anyway, I am gonna head home because I was going to, why isn't my seat working? I'm not in position. I was going to go straight to the shops, but I am so hungry. So we're gonna go to the supermarket, we're gonna get some lunch and go home and make lunch, and then we're gonna come back out and go to the shops. I technically could get food out. I'm trying to start this new thing in the week where I don't eat out, just because I end up not always eating rubbish, but I just eat out unnecessarily and I don't need to do it anymore. So I'm turning over a new leaf. So we're gonna go to the supermarket and get some healthy ingredients to make a nice healthy lunch. I didn't film my shop because I'm basically too hungry, but I have a real mix of stuff here. I got very healthy, so I've got sweet potatoes. I think I'm gonna have sweet potato with feta and tuna for my lunch, but I've got some bits for dinner and also some scales so I can weigh some rice. And also I picked up the dodgiest trolley. Listen to it. I've got deliveries. This is my favourite thing to come home to, and two really good ones. I'm so hungry and I need to make lunch, but I need to open my parcels. I'm someone that cannot leave my parcels in the box for more than 30 seconds. I need to see what's inside. From Missouri, I ordered a bunch of new earrings, and I also got this really cute travel case from them as well, which would be really handy to pop on my jewellery in when I'm travelling. I'm actually gonna put these earrings in now. Okay, I did it off camera. I feel like my ear is gonna be slightly red, but they are hoops that all go up in like different sizes. I already had the top two already, but I ordered the bigger one and the next up from the bigger one.
I feel like they look really nice stacked together like that. They're all real diamonds and gold. I usually wear diamond studs that go kind of like up in different sizes, if that makes sense. I just felt like switching it up. What do we think to the hoops? Do we like them? And my second delivery is one of my favourite deliveries that I get every week. It makes me so happy. I started this, I want to say the beginning of December, and I get flowers every week from Freddies Flowers. They come in a box straight to your door like this. If any of you live in London, I don't know if they do this in other places as well, but have you ever seen there's a guy, or it might be a woman sometimes as well, cycling around with all the Freddies Flowers boxes piled up? It's like something out of a movie. It's so cute, and it's how they deliver all the flowers. Next time I'm out and I see them, I'm going to take a photo or a video. It might be slightly creepy, but I need to show you guys because it's just so cute. Anyway, inside you get fresh flowers, which look like this. I'll actually bring you around so you can see them inside. So here they are inside the box. I love how they're wrapped in string and then this brown paper. And then here is all of the instructions on here. So it just gives you a little bit of info on how to cut them and pop them in the vase and also refresh them as well. These are actually my ones from last week. I'm going to take them over to the sink as well and refresh the water and just cut them down a little bit. But as you can see, these are a week old and they're still going really, really strong. In each box you get 2 lots of flower food, so next week you have another packet to refresh your flowers with. Now I am no florist guys, so please do not judge my arrangement skills. My nan is a florist, or kind of a florist, so she will be judging. She'll be saying, Freya, this is all wrong. But the great thing is with Freddies Flowers is they're all so pretty, so it doesn't really matter if you're not the greatest arranger, they always look nice in the vase. I also find, as I showed you the bunch from last week, they last so long, like so much longer than other flowers I bought from the shops in the past. And I believe it's because they get their flowers straight from the grower. So they don't spend time in shops and vans, they come straight to your door. They're also a really sustainable brand too, because I told you guys that the packaging was very cute, but it's also recycled as well. And they only grow their flowers to order, so they really cut down on any waste. There's no waste flowers. Well, I don't think I've done all that badly, really. I think that looks very pretty. I'm going to pop these ones on my coffee table, where those other ones were, but I'm going to put those in my dressing room. And how lovely is this vase, by the way? You can actually get this for free. I have a code for Freddies Flowers. It's Freya K, and on your first delivery, you'll also get this free vase with it as well. And then on your second delivery, you'll get a shorter vase, which I'll show you in a minute. Cutting these ones down, I do this really roughly, but these will last usually another week. Like, I won't throw these away until I get the next bunch after this.
This is also the shorter vase that I'm putting the flowers into, which you will get free with your second delivery with my code. You can also receive deliveries as often as you like by skipping weeks if you're on holiday or you just didn't want flowers that week. You can pause or cancel at any time.
I also just find that these are a really nice pick-me-up. I don't know about any of you guys, but having fresh flowers in my house just always lifts the mood, no matter what the weather is like or anything like that. If I have a fresh bunch of flowers, it just makes me feel better about everything. I'm gonna go and pop those in my dressing room.
Guys, as I was just chucking away the box, I realised there is this inside which actually tells you how to arrange the flowers. So all of this time I've been saying I'm not a florist, and I could be a florist if I'd just read the instructions that comes with the flowers. I can't believe this. Okay, at least I know for next time, and all of you will know, if you get the flowers, they come with instructions. Well, Duke of York Square is very, very quiet today. I guess there's people inside, maybe not outside, but it's not actually that cold. I mean, I have got a big puffer jacket on and leg warmers, so maybe that's why I'm saying that, but it's not that cold. If any of you guys ever come to London, I'm sure if you live in London you already know about it, but if you ever come to London and you want to visit a ZARA, this is the one to visit. Oh yay, we have new and stuff. Cute shoes, jeans, and so much blue in here at the moment. Quite like these pinstripe trousers with this shirt. They'd look nice on. There are so many stripes around at the moment and lots of black and white. This bag is so sparkly, and this one is very interesting but very pretty, and we love, there's a whole table of skinny jeans. I love my skinny jeans. More stripes, I told you. Look how much blue and stripes is in this shop today. I do quite like blue though. That's my baby dog. Also, have any of you seen this whole Clark ZARA collaboration? I'm unsure how I feel about this. They kind of remind me of school shoes. Also, look at the size of this ZARA. This is why I say it's such a good one. And it's actually really quiet today, but it's absolutely massive, and they always have so much stuff. Well, I just did the best ZARA shop I've done in a very long time. These bags are so heavy, but it was very successful. No matter what I do. Who remembers this banger from back in the day? That was the most successful ZARA trip I've had in the longest time ever. It was so good. I have got so much stuff, and I basically went for a grey sort of crop bomber jacket. And I asked the guy, I couldn't see it on shop floor, so I ended up asking one of the staff members if they knew where it was. And then she went off to look for it and then said to me, it's sold out. And then I saw a lady, she was walking around with it in her hands, and then she tried it on. She decided she didn't like it, so she parted some clothes and she put it in between a rail. I was watching her from afar, and I swooped in and I picked up the jacket, and so I got the grey bomber jacket. I haven't tried it on though, so I don't know if it looks nice on me, but I got what I went for, plus so much other stuff. I feel like it needs like a dedicated haul. Like we need to do a whole haul. Maybe I'll do it next week, because there's enough stuff for a haul. And I've got lots of like spring outfits, which I have to say, even though I love autumn winter clothes, there always comes a time, and it's like this time of the year, February, I'm over it. I'm ready for spring, I'm ready for warmer weather. I bet a lot of you are feeling the same. So I feel like the ZARA haul is going to be quite spring vibes, which is very fun. Good morning everyone. Sorry I left you the other day after my ZARA shop, but it was so successful. I think I've already told you that, guys, but it really was. I'll show you everything I got. It's actually on the rail in my living room, but I'm just about to start, well, I've already kind of started doing my makeup for the day, and I thought we could just like have a chat whilst I'm doing my makeup and answer some questions that you've always got for me. I often do this on Instagram. Like I ask you guys to ask me questions and then I answer them on my stories. But I don't really do this. I don't think I've actually ever done it on YouTube. I feel like you guys know more about me on YouTube than people do on Instagram. But I thought it'd be quite fun this morning to do this. So I've asked on Instagram you guys to ask some questions. So I'm just gonna like, whoa! Sorry about that, that was not planned. But I have a bunch of questions from Instagram to answer with you all. So let me just like randomly flick through these. What should we go with first? Do you have any travel plans for 2023? Well, so far it is currently still, no, I was about to say it's still January. It's not, we're well into February already. But right now I only have one trip planned this year, and it's a trip to Paris for my birthday with four of my best friends. We're going for the weekend. And I think it's going to be great. They've sorted all the itinerary. In fact, they actually sorted the whole trip. We're going around my birthday and I'm really excited for that. But right now, that is my only trip planned of the year. I'm sure as time goes on, I will definitely book some more. I'm more of like a last minute organizer kind of person, and there definitely are a few places I want to go this year. I'd really love to go back to Bali. I'd love to go to the Maldives, but I don't know if that will happen this year. I'd like to go to Tulum in Mexico, back to Ibiza, Saint-Tropez. I mean, the possibilities are endless, but yeah, the only trip I have booked right now is Paris. What about you guys? Do you guys have any holidays booked? With Get Ready With Me, you really have to trust the process, because there are times during the Get Ready With Me where I look not cute, like right now. Anyway, next question. Someone asked, have I changed my YouTube upload days? And I actually wanted to speak to you guys about this, because technically, like, I haven't changed it as of yet. However, you guys know I always, well, try to upload on a Sunday. But something I found with uploading on a Sunday is it kind of ruins my weekend. And with this job, I know a lot of people don't see it as work, but you end up working 24/7 every single day of the week.
and it's a lot. Like, I don't have my weekends. I just work every day, but luckily I enjoy what I do. It doesn't always feel like work. However, it would feel nice just on a weekend to not feel stressed about a Sunday upload. So I have been toying with the idea of uploading on Mondays instead. So my vlogs or like main video would go live on a Monday. You guys are gonna have to let me know how you feel about that. I watch a lot of people on YouTube, and as long as they upload, I don't really care what days they upload on, because I might not watch the video as soon as it comes out. I might watch it like a day or two later. As I said to you in my last vlog, I often sit at my dressing table and watch people's videos. So I just watch whatever video is new on their page. But I just feel like if I didn't upload on Sundays, I would get more of a weekend to myself, and then every Monday you guys would get a video. And you might have noticed, but at the moment I'm absolutely loving YouTube, and so I've been putting out more than one video a week. In fact, the last few weeks I've been putting out at least 2. I think one week I even put out 3, like, who am I? So I have been pushing out videos on random days, but let me know how you guys would feel if I did change my regular upload day to a Monday. This is cute. This says, not a question, but I love your YouTube so much. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for that. Next question says, what did you pick up at Chanel the other day? Love you, by the way. Now, you guys on here won't know this, but I actually got something from Chanel the other day. Of course I did. And I put it on my Instagram story. I haven't told anyone what I got. But my next video will be a Chanel unboxing, because I'm actually going to film it today. So my next video is going to be, it's actually going to be a Chanel handbag review. I'm going to talk about all my handbags and show you a new one that I've bought. Someone here says, what happened to the Prada parka they accidentally gave you? Is it for sale? Well, that's something else that's going to be covered this week in the vlogs, because I'm going back to Bicester to sort out the situation. I have spoken to someone there, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm gonna get a refund, but I'm gonna vlog the whole thing. But it has actually been way over a month since that all happened. Like, this was like before Christmas, but it's my own fault why I haven't actually been back since. I genuinely have not had the time to go to Bicester since Christmas. Okay, this person here says, the story behind your career. I feel like everyone on here knows the story behind my career, and I feel like it's kind of boring if I talk about it, but maybe I should just cover it, because I have had quite a few new subscribers just recently, and I feel like maybe people don't know the actual story. So let's like rewind all the way back to school. I went to school. I loved school, but all for the wrong reasons. I'm not very, I don't want to say clever, because I feel like I am clever in my own way. Common sense, I've got a lot of it. But in terms of things you're meant to be clever at school, like spelling, reading, writing, like adding up, I can't really do any of it. I can just about read enough to get by in life. I am pretty dyslexic. And so in school, I kind of just messed around instead of working hard. So in year 11, I left school with pretty terrible grades. I actually only got 2 C's at GCSE, and one of them was dance and the other one was textiles, and everything else was like an F, a G, an E, a D. Like, it was, my grades were terrible. I actually resat my English, I think it was 4 times in the end. Still never got above, I think it was an E. Anyway, I left school and I went straight to college, and I actually started a beauty course, and I only did it for 2 weeks. It was at Canterbury College, and I decided I wanted to go back to school. And that was basically because at the time I had a boyfriend, and he was the year below me, and he was still at school. So I kind of wanted to go back for him, and a few of my friends had stayed on at 6th form. So I went back and I resat my maths and English, which, as you guys know, I failed both of it. And I pretty much just messed around for another year, which is probably a year of my life I really regret, because it was a really wasted year, and I basically just did an extra year at my secondary school. Then after that year was up, I then went back to college, but this time I went back to college and I did dance. Some of you may or may not know that I started ballet when I was 3 years old, and I did ballet for the Royal Ballet School all the way up until the age of 18. So I have all of my Royal Ballet training and certificates. I did all of my exams up until, I think it's called intermediate, which is like the highest, in those days anyway, you could go in terms of Royal Ballet. And alongside ballet, I also did jazz and tap, and I just really loved dance. So I ended up back at college, and this time I was doing dance, and I loved it. Once again, I was never good at the like written side of it. You had to do exams, which I never did, but I did all the practical side. And in my day, I was a pretty good dancer, guys. So as my first year at dance college was coming to an end, my dance teacher said to me, do you know what, Freya, you're good enough to go to like a London dance college. Why don't you go and audition and try and get into one of the big dance colleges? So that's exactly what I did. I went to London with my dad. My dad has been supportive through everything I've ever done in my life, and my mum as well. But my dad, actually that's a lie, my mum took me to one in Bedford as well. So anyway, my parents have always been supportive. But they took me to all of the auditions, and I did actually get into a number of schools. But the thing is with dance colleges, I don't know if this has changed now, but when I auditioned, this was the case. it's not funded how unis are funded. So instead of getting a government loan and then it getting paid off that way, you have to fund it yourself or get a personal loan. And dance college is very, very expensive, like eye-wateringly expensive. And it was what I wanted to do. But did I see myself being a dancer long term? I was unsure. And the thing is, what some of you may or may not know about the dance world, especially back then, it was very strict. It was very on the way you looked, on your weight, on your height, on your appearance. And sometimes it was very harsh. On a number of occasions I got told I was too fat. On a number of occasions I got told I was too short. And it was really hard to kind of deal with that all the time. So after I got accepted into the dance colleges, I then had to make the tough decision. Is this actually what I want to do? It's obviously going to cost a fortune. And do I see myself being a dancer long term? And at that point, I just thought to myself, I didn't want the pressure. I just didn't really know if dance was for me long term. And as I'd already experienced a bit of rejection in the industry and also being told harsh things about the way I looked, the way my body is, I decided not to go to any of the dance colleges that I got into. And then I was kind of in a situation where I wasn't at college anymore, I wasn't at school, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. My kind of dance career dream had shattered into pieces in front of me, and I just felt extremely lost. So that is when I then went to go and work at a restaurant full time. Now, some of you might know that my parents own a restaurant. My sister has now since taken it over, but my family own a restaurant. And I actually started working there when I was about 14 years old. I got my first shift as a Sunday girl waitressing. And so I just worked there on a Sunday. And as I got older and I went to college, I used to work there in the evenings. So I'd go to college in the day and I'd work there in the evenings. I also used to work at World Duty Free on the Dior counter, and I used to clean people's houses. So your girl wasn't short of work. I always liked to work because work meant money, and money meant I could buy clothes and bags. That is one thing that's never changed about me. I've always spent my money on clothes and handbags. Anyway, I was now in this situation where I was working at my parents'. It was meant to be a temporary thing, but I went to work for them full time. So I was just like everyone else that worked there. I was a full-time waitress. So at this point, I think I was about 20 or 21. And so I was old enough to serve pints. So a lot of the time I worked in the bar area and I actually really enjoyed it. But hospitality work is very hard. Don't get me wrong, we had some lovely customers, but of course you have some horrible ones as well. A lot of people don't treat waiting staff very nicely, which is something I hate. If I go out to eat with anyone and they're rude to the waitress, which to be fair, none of my friends ever would be, but if they were, I actually pull people up on it because you don't understand how hard waitressing is. I did it for 11 years and it's such a hard job. It's unsociable hours, but it can also be quite fun at the same time. I used to work with some really lovely girls and we used to all have a real laugh. And as far as employees go, my parents are really great people to work for. Some of their staff members have been with them nearly 20 years, so that proves they're very lovely people to work for. Anyway, the years passed by and you know what time's like, it just gets away with you. And before I knew it, I had been working there for 11 years and it was totally never ever the plan. It was just meant to be a stopgap before I decided what I wanted to do with my life. But I was one of those people, and still am one of those people to be honest, that never knew what they wanted to do. So I'd say at this point I'd probably been working there about 5 or 6 years, and I'd always say to my mum and my dad and my friends, like, what am I gonna do? I toyed with the ideas of going into makeup. That's why I worked on the Dior counter for a while. I looked at starting a career in fashion, but a lot of the time that meant going back to college or going back to uni. And after working full time for so many years, being used to having a stable income, and also had things to pay for. Like at this point I had a car on finance, I went on lots of holidays, like I couldn't afford to go back to college because I had too many things I needed to pay for. And the thought of uni for me, given the fact that I was never really that academic, was always just a no. So I actually remember it one night after work, because this is the thing, when you work in a pub, you work, well I used to work split shifts, so I used to start at 12, finish at about 3 or 4, start again at 6, and then you'd finish about midnight or sometimes 1 in the morning. So I'd always be up so late. So I was home, it was about 1, 2 in the morning. I was just online on my laptop, probably looking at YSL handbags or something really productive. So I decided to Google, how do you become a stylist? And I came across this page on Google. I could probably never find it again. This was so long ago. And it basically said, if you don't want to go to college or you don't want to go to uni, a great way to become a stylist is to start a portfolio. So I thought, well, I could do that. As I already mentioned, all of my wages always went on clothes and bags. So I had a wardrobe full of clothes. I used to go to work every day in an all black outfit. So I just felt like my clothes were always wasted. But I thought I could easily do a portfolio because I have all of the stuff already. But then it said, start the portfolio on Instagram.
And in those days, don't get me wrong, Instagram was definitely a thing. It wasn't that long ago that I started doing this, but it wasn't as big as what it was now. And there definitely wasn't as many like bloggers or influencers, whatever you want to call them, around. And especially in my area where I grew up, there was none. And I remember it was just in the days I'd started following people like Sarah Ashkoff. I feel like for me, she was one of like the original UK influencers. And I always used to watch Zoella, Alfie. Some of you, if you've been watching YouTube for many years, will know who I'm talking about. So I've always like followed people like that, but I never really saw them. I just thought they were like celebrities, or I never really thought about it before. Anyway, I saw what people like Sarah Ashkoff were doing. Didn't really realise what she was doing was blogging, but I just thought I can post my outfits on my Instagram like she does. So that is what I started doing. I had, I think, less than 1,000 followers on Instagram, and they were all people I either went to school with, worked with, or just met over the years. Like, no one random was on my Instagram. So I was very embarrassed, felt very scared to suddenly start posting pictures of my outfits. Like, who did I think I was? But I was determined to get into the fashion industry. I wanted to become a stylist. So at that point, I did not care what anyone thought of me. And I started posting on my Instagram. I used to set up a tripod before work, either in the mornings or in between my split shift, and take photos of my outfits in front of my neighbour's garage. A lot of them are still on my Instagram if you scroll far enough down. But that's what I did. And then eventually I started begging my brother to come out with me and take photos of me in my local town, which is Deal. And I think that's where I first ever found the white wall. This white wall, over the years, I took hundreds of outfit photos in front of this wall. Anyway, I've kind of skipped a bit. So at this point, I was posting on Instagram. Of course, there were people in my local area talking about me. More than anything, it was guys. So guys, I'm sure none of you are ever gonna watch this video, but I had a lot of the local boys take the real piss out of me, like them faking my outfits with like bag for life and stuff like that. It got to me, I can't lie. I did get a bit upset, and in those days you really care what everyone else thinks. You're a little bit younger, and I cared a lot, but I've always had great friends, and my real friends never said a word. They probably thought, Freya, what are you doing? But they didn't say anything, they let me get on with it. And even my best friend Abby, she had moved to London at this point, and she was so supportive. When I came up, she would go out with me, take outfit photos, and then I'd like stockpile the photos and put them on Instagram. And at this point, I did actually start to build a little bit of a following. I only had like a few thousand followers, but it was more than the 1,000 I started with. So I thought, you know, if I keep doing this, there could be a good chance I would end up getting a styling job. And my dream styling job was to do it in personal styling or personal shopping in Selfridges or Harrods or something like that. Anyway, as time went on, my brother hated me asking him to take these outfit photos on the weekend. My brother has a full-time job, so I was getting him out of bed on the weekend to come and help me, and I was paying him, but he absolutely hated it, and it was causing huge rows. So that's when my dad said to me, why don't I take the photos for you? And being young and a bit immature, I was like, no, it'll be so embarrassing, like people will see me and they'll see that you're taking photos of me, and it's just really vain. And he probably asked 100 times before one day I was desperate, and I thought, do you know what, Dad, you can help me. So that day I went back into Deal in my local town, and I shot content with him for the first time, and it went pretty successful. Anyway, that night I uploaded the photos that my dad and I took, and someone had seen us taking photos, and they did take the mickey out of me a bit. But once they'd done that, it gave me anxiety on the night. But then I thought, that's the worst thing anyone can do. What can you do? Laugh at me for taking photos with my dad? Like, who actually cares? So from then on in, I always shot content with my dad, and to this day, as many of you know, I still shoot with my dad. My dad is now, he'll hate me telling you all this, but he'll actually be 77 in March. And he is the fittest 77-year-old I've ever met in my life. He knows my angles. He can tell me when, you know, like my hair might be covering like a badge that I want to be shown on my jacket. He'll tell me if my shirt's untucked. He is the best person to shoot content with. And I love the relationship I have with him. And the fact I can meet up with him a couple of times a month. We have a shoot day, we have a chat, sometimes we go and get lunch afterwards. And it's just the nicest thing ever. So anyway, now I knew my dad could help me, and he was willing to help me anytime, any day of any week. So we were going out all of the time. We were taking photos. As I said about that white wall earlier, I must have shot 100 outfits down that street in Deal against that white wall. we'd park up, I'd get changed in the car, and we just used to shoot outfit after outfit, and I used to upload them all onto my Instagram. And after a while,
I gained quite a following. And something about my Instagram is on my stories in those days, I used to chat all of the time. I never do it on there anymore. I do it on YouTube instead. But I used to talk on my stories all day long. And I feel like it was quite relatable and everyone just really got to know me. And before I knew it, don't get me wrong, it didn't happen overnight. It took me so blooming long to get to 10,000 followers. But after I got to 10,000, I don't know how long it was after, I eventually hit 100,000 followers. And that's when I realised, it was around that kind of mark, that this could turn into a career. That's when I realised what a blogger or an influencer, whatever you want to call us, actually was. And it wasn't until I had about 100,000 followers that I ever got paid for a post I did on Instagram, which is crazy because I know some people with 20,000 followers that will get paid for a post. Lip liner and talking is almost impossible. But for me, I was never mad that I didn't get paid from it. It was a hobby. It was something I love doing. It still is something that I love doing. And for me, it was just an escape from my job, like my everyday job. I still was working full time, by the way, at the pub at this point. And I was still working full time at the pub for a long time after this. But it's just something that I could put my heart into and I just really enjoyed to do in my spare time. I never really thought it was going to become a career. I was still very much set on the fact that I was going to be a stylist or something to do with fashion, just anything to do with fashion. But as time went on, I was posting more and more on Instagram. I was gaining more and more of a following. Eventually I started YouTube. I don't know how long I'd been doing Instagram by the time I started YouTube, but eventually I started YouTube and I've been doing YouTube for 4 years now. So this was all kind of like a really long process and I was still working full time. I think I didn't quit my job at the pub until I was doing YouTube for maybe a year and a half, nearly 2 years. I've been full-time doing this for almost 3 years. Up until then, I was still working at my parents' pub and restaurant, and I just did both at the same time. And I did it until it got to a point that I couldn't do both anymore, and one of them had to give. I luckily, like honestly, I thank my lucky stars every single day, but luckily I got so busy with this that I needed to do it full time. And it was such a big, scary jump to do that. At that point, I'd been working at the pub for 11 years. I knew I could always go back because obviously it was my parents, but it was just such a big, scary thing to do to finally leave. But I knew that my passion was in, this sounds so cringe, my passion was in fashion, but my passion really was in fashion. And my parents knew that and they were always so supportive of it. So as I say, I eventually went full time doing this and to be honest, I've never looked back since. I have been back to the pub to do a few shifts. My parents and my sister, they both clashed their holidays last year. So I went back and I ran the pub for a weekend. And so I have done the odd shift here and there. And before I left entirely, I definitely went to part-time and then I used to just work the weekends here and there. So it's been a crazy ride and that was a very long-winded story. I've ended up not answering any more questions and completing my whole makeup look just by telling you that story, but I think it's quite a good one and I think it's also something that people should hear because I think when you watch people online you kind of think, oh, they were just born into this, they're just lucky, you know, they've never worked a day in their life, they don't understand what it's like to work a real job, even though guys, this is actually a real job. And what people don't see about online work is it's hard. Like, yes, hospitality is such a hard industry, like I said it already, but I work longer hours now than I did then. But the difference is now is I really enjoy what I do and I'm so grateful of that. I once said years ago that the only people in life I'm jealous of are the people that enjoy their jobs, because obviously I did a job for many years that I didn't really enjoy. But now I do enjoy my job. I love it so much and that's why I'm so grateful of it. But I think it's a good story to tell so you guys sort of see that a lot has gone into my life. I am 30 this year and it hasn't just been handed to me on a plate. It wasn't luck, it was hard work. I worked a job that I hated for 11 years. I cleaned houses. I worked at Well Duty Free. I failed in school. I failed in college. I dropped out of dance college. Like, you know, it wasn't an easy ride. And yes, I did have it easier than some with the fact that I did have a job I could go to, because I am grateful for the fact that my parents like own a restaurant and I was able to go and work for them as long as I did, because I know even trying to get your first job is so hard. I did actually apply one time to work in a call centre for ZARA. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of them, because I didn't really want to go and work for my parents. I knew ZARA paid more money and I went and I applied for the job. I did the interview, but I didn't pass the numbers section. It was like the numbers and the words because I'm dyslexic. I couldn't pass the test to get the job. So I do understand how hard it can be just to get that first job in general, which is obviously why I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to work for my parents. And that job taught me so much in life. It taught me how to handle money, customer service, work in a team, act on my feet, work blooming hard, long hours. It's just a really great job to have as your first job. If any of you out there are a lot younger than me and you're just finishing school and you're wondering what to do, go and get a waitressing job, even if it's just for the summer, because it will teach you so many valuable life lessons. And I really feel like it set me up in such great stead for the rest of my life. Anyway, that was so blooming long and I went completely off tangent to what I was meant to do. But let me just answer a couple more questions and then I'm gonna shut up talking because I've actually got the driest mouth. Do I take the contraceptive pill? I feel like this is a story for a whole nother day. I do not take the contraceptive pill. Something happened to my sister from taking the pill, and so we were kind of, well, she was definitely advised not to take it anymore. She's not allowed to. And because we have the same or similar genes, I'm not meant to either. I actually have the contraceptive coil, which I'm actually about to get removed because I've had it 5 years and I'm gonna have one put straight back in. For me, the coil has been great. I do think I have had some side effects, but overall for me, I think it's been one of the best forms of birth control. But I can talk about that more in a different video because I feel like there's a lot to be said on that matter. Oh, someone said, saw you near Harrods in your way with a pram kid's car door. Didn't get a chance to say hi. That was cute, no worries, it's fine. What sort of engagement ring would you have? I would want a really skinny gold band and the fattest diamond you've ever seen. No, I'm talking like 3, 4, 5, 6 carats. That's a bit extreme. But just a really huge diamond. I think oval would be my preference on a gold, really thin band. Really simple, but a nice big rock. Best and worst bits about your job. Now, after having a job for so many years that I didn't really love, as you guys know, because I've just told you the whole story, there's so many great bits about this job. Freedom of it, getting to pick your own hours, enjoying what you do. I've almost created a hobby into a career. So shopping and reviewing products, it really is a dream job. However, what people don't see about this job is it's blooming hard work. There's a lot of comparison, constantly worrying about the way you look, people over-analysing every single thing that you say. Unfortunately with this job, it does come with a little bit of hate. I will say that I barely get any. Compared to the amount of nice people, there are only a tiny amount of horrible people. But of course, there are some horrible people. So it can be hard to constantly get sort of analysed on everything you say. And some days if you just open a message and it says you look ugly today or you look like you've put on weight or whatever it might say, it can ruin your whole day. It can give me anxiety. So that's a really hard part of the job, but luckily I don't get that too much at all. But often I might say something that gets taken the wrong way, so I can't really be very sarcastic because people think I'm being serious and then you think I'm like rude or you think that I actually think what I've just said when I don't. I'm just being sarcastic. So sometimes some of the things I can say can get taken the wrong way. And I think the other biggest thing for me is having a work-life balance. I don't have a work-life balance at all. I work every single day into early hours of the morning. I just never stop. My brain's at 100 miles an hour and I sometimes neglect relationships with friends, even my own boyfriend, because I spend too much time working. And I just don't think that people see the work that goes into this job. One thing we're meant to do very well is make things look flawless, make things look just like they're not hard work, when in fact, they are hard work. And a lot of the time I'm running around like a crazy bitch, so stressed, and you don't see that part. But for the most part, like I said a little bit earlier, I feel grateful every single day for this job and I will never really moan about it. Do I have balayage or baby light? Do you get the root smudge too? Thanks in advance. So this girl is talking about my hair. My hair actually needs to be washed today, but you know, we're just gonna try and get like 2-day hair out of this. So my roots are my natural color, and then Harriet, I believe she does balayage and highlights. Sometimes she paints the end of my hair. I think that counts as balayage, but my roots are my natural root. I did once have a root smudge, but I didn't love it, so I just keep it natural on top. Do you buy designer just because Instagram makes you feel like you need to? Well, I've just told you my life story, and I have been buying designer way before Instagram and way before I could even like really afford it. I honestly had a Sunday job and I would still find the money, I'd save it up and I would buy myself a Celine bag. That's just what I've always liked to save my money on. Instead of going on nights out and drinking and smoking, I did it occasionally. Of course, I went on nights out with my friends, but I didn't go out every weekend. Instead of that, I worked, I saved my money and I bought designer stuff, and nothing has really changed there. I still buy loads of designer, but I definitely don't do it for Instagram. I do it just because I've always loved it. I asked for assumptions. So someone said here, you're super rich. Babes, one day I will be super rich. Hair update, please. My hair has got so thin recently. Start taking hair burst gummies. They are so good. I've been taking them, I want to say, for like 7 months. I did take the Vegamore ones before. They were really good as well. Then I switched to the hair burst. Honestly, they taste so good. They're like a little sweet in the morning. I love them. And the difference I've seen in my hair has been so great. It looks a bit flat today though because it needs a wash. Do you plan on getting married and having kids? One day, I do. But I don't know when that day is going to be. I feel like this is another topic for another day because I really need to get on and do some work. But one day I do hope I'm blessed enough to have children. However, I don't know, the older I'm getting, just kind of the less and less I feel ready for them or want them. I feel like when you like your life, it kind of feels scary to add something in it that might change it, which is kind of a selfish thing to say. I feel a little bit confused about the whole situation right now. It's a very weird topic in my life and I am 30 coming up and age is just a number, but obviously as women do have a biological clock. So yeah, I don't like to think about it too much because it makes me slightly like anxious, but I'll speak about this more in another video if you guys would want to hear about it. Where would your dream wedding be? Am I weird to have never even thought about my wedding day? I know there's lots of girls out there, and men I guess as well, who have just dreamt of their wedding day, have like Pinterest boards, dresses, everything. All I've ever really dreamt about is having a big huge diamond ring because I'm obsessed with jewellery. Other than that, I've never even thought about my wedding. I feel like I would get married abroad, but I am actually quite a sweaty person, and imagine how hot and sweaty it would be on a beach. I don't know if that would really be the vibe. I honestly haven't even thought about it. Maybe I'd just do really low key, or maybe I'd go really big. I really have no clue about that. I've never been someone that's thought about it. Okay, last question because I've been talking for so long. I have the driest mouth, but it says, do you get paid by ZARA? Why do you talk about them all of the time? Guys, I wish ZARA paid me. They absolutely do not. I talk about them all the time because I shop there a lot. And also I feel like ZARA is very accessible over like throughout the world. So even if you watch my videos and you're in Spain, you can go to ZARA and you can buy the clothes. And I know that ZARA is in lots of different countries, so that's why I speak about them, because lots of people have access to ZARA and I just really love their clothes. Anyway, speaking of ZARA, let me show you all of the stuff that I bought the other day. So you know I said my ZARA shop was successful. By the way, update on my Freddies flowers. How many days has it been now? It's been quite a few. Look how open all the lilies are. I actually need to change the water today, so we'll just ignore that. But how beautiful are they? I told you, they really open up as the days go on because when they arrive, they're super fresh. But they just make my room so much brighter. As many of you say, my room is very beige. So I always like to add a little bit of colour with some flowers. But over here, all the things that I picked up from ZARA. I've worn this bomber already. As you can see, I just add a little brooch there. Actually, you'd have seen it in my last styling video. But all of this stuff is from ZARA as well. I've tried on a couple of things, but not much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a first impressions ZARA haul video. So my next video is going to be a ZARA haul, and I'm going to do the YSL giveaway in that video as well because I'm concerned. I actually bought that bag over a week ago. I haven't been able to include it in any of my last vlogs or videos, but it will be in my ZARA haul video for my giveaway. So I'm actually going to end this video here because I'm just about to start a new one, which is a Chanel bag unboxing, which should be up this week as well. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for all of the support. If you don't already, go and follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I love you guys. Take care. Have a great week, and I will see you in my next one. Bye bye.